Hi everyone, it's the Queen of Biohacking, Dr. Lauren Leiva, owner and founder of the Exerscience Center, and I'm here at the Biohackers World Conference, so excited with one of my favorite speakers, Susan Bratton, the sex expert. Thank you.
It's your energy is so infectious. It's, I think, your biggest gift, and I know you have many gifts, but just all that love and sweetness that you pour out in the world, it's really a joy to be here with you. Thank you. And I love your love for me. It makes me feel so good, too. So thank you for just wearing your heart on your sleeve.
Right? I just wanted her energy to rub off on me. I got a list of speakers, and I was like, boom, I got to nail this one down.
I'm your girl. I'm your girl.
The first time I met Susan, I was at the Dave Asprey conference, I believe 1 or 2 years ago. Last year. And time flies by, especially when you do what I do. No. But she was giving away dildos in a raffle, and I won one.
Vibrators.
Vibrators.
Yeah.
Apologies, vibrators.
That's okay.
There's a big difference. I have so much to learn.
Yeah.
And the runner gave it to the girl in front of me, and everybody's like, "You have to fight her for it." I'm like, "I can't fight over a vibrator," but I'm going to make a point to meet Susan and learn so much more about all of these things. So my question for Susan is, what brought you into this field?
Well, first of all, what vibrator did I give you?
Well, the girl in front of me got it,
and
I gracefully gave it. Yeah, she got it and walked right away.
All right, well, today when you come to my presentation at Biohacker World, I will make sure I see you and I will make sure I give you a vibrator. I brought a whole bunch of toys. This is, basically they're toys. They're pleasure tools. And so let's get you something good today when you come to the presentation. What got me into this in my 40s was that I had stopped wanting to have intimacy with my husband because it just wasn't really satisfying me. It was satisfying him, but it wasn't satisfying me.
Wow.
So
interesting, because I'm going to be 40 this year, and a lot of my friends are experiencing the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm really excited. Let's hear more.
The 40s are a time of sexual awakening for many, many women. Mm-hmm. It can happen earlier and it can happen later, but it seems like that is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Women they've had some sexual experimentation, they might have had some long-term relationships, and they kind of start to feel their mortality, like, oh, I'm going to start to go into menopause, or perimenopause, and I see that I'm, entering into my midlife. Now, for me personally, as a biohacker, I don't think 40 is midlife. I think that's the first third of your life. I think I'm in midlife at 60. Okay. That's where I am. I think that all of our longevity is shifting what midlife is, but so many women end up in their early 40s saying, there's got to be something more. I want more out of my sexuality. I want more spirituality. I want more heart connection. I'm starting to worry less about my body image, the image issues that I've had. I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is how I look, and I'm just going to learn to love myself. Women start to move more into their power, to be able to find their voice, and they just are willing to be more experimental and try more and fight for their sexuality and say, what else is there? And the great thing about sex is that I always joke that if sex were a brand, its tagline would be sex. There's always something more. And that's what's so great about sex, is that it's a lifelong journey. And a big part of what I talk about now is ageless sexuality. Because whether you're 40, 50, 60, or even 70 or 80 years old, it is never too late to have a renaissance in your relationship. It is never too late to have a renaissance in your sex life. And there is always more, and your sex can keep getting better, because your sexual growth and your personal growth are two sides of the same coin, just like your libido is the other side of the same coin of your health. Yes. When you are healthy, you are horny. And when you are horny, there is hope.
Listen to that. Write that down. And that's beautiful, because like some of the things I'm asking from my husband, he says, well, you never wanted that before. And I think a lot of couples, like, that might be a red alert. Like, why do they want this now? And they never wanted it before. But for me and those who know my story, I used to have a colostomy bag, and even before that, at the age of 13, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So going to the bathroom all day kept me in a not the best relationship, because I don't want anybody to see me or know these things about me. But so the same person I was with for 7 years, the first person I was with, and it wasn't the best for me, but I was because insecurity, and then I didn't want the lights on. I didn't want anybody to go downstairs. I just wanted to get it over with and all to please them. And when I met my husband, very not similar to that, but I just really wanted to be the pleaser always. And I do have to say this past year too, not only have I gotten the most healthy I've ever been, which makes sense because I've been wanting it more and more and more and more and more. And I've been hospitalized for 9 months at a time where I didn't do it at all. And
of course,
there's a lot of sexless marriages. I talk with a lot of my clients, and that brings on the value of their worth. Like, some women don't have any, like, if they're not, their husband doesn't even want them. It's all about their husband's desire and all of this. So when the women tap into themselves, or men, or, however you identify, it's really good to feel. Even what I told my husband at one point in time is like, you know what, I'm going to take this also into my own hands. And I want to please myself. And I tell this to women, and a man might say, oh, do you want all the power? And it's like, no, I don't need all the power, but I want my power back. And I want to allow you in and to give it, but also to be able to, have an experience with myself. So that's something I share with a lot of people. And my mother brought that into my world even when I was younger. When I got my period, she's like, she brought me home a vibrator. She goes, here, don't get pregnant. She's like, because now that you can have your period, you can get pregnant. And my mom was very, very much sexually activated. And but being in a world and being young where everybody's like, no, 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 I had this imbalance. So so when I meet people like you, it gives me that allowance to discover that part of myself.
Well, let's talk about self-discovery, sexual self-discovery, because I think this is what you're craving right now. So if I were to think about, our sexuality has basically 3 legs to the stool. One of them is sexual techniques, pleasuring skills. And that encompasses things like activating your orgasmic potential, as well as learning how our genitals work so that we can pleasure each other, and what full body pleasure looks like, and how to come into a sexual relationship and to really give and receive equal amounts of unbelievable pleasure. That's one leg. The second leg is communication skills. Bedroom communication skills. They actually start outside the bedroom, knowing what it is you want from a relationship so that you can get those needs met, so that when you're in the bedroom, you're not angry, frustrated, checked out, surrendered to their pleasure but not taking your own, whatever it might be. And then there's an ascension model to bedroom communication, where there are some fundamental things that you really need to learn first before you learn the next and next and next and next. So there's bedroom communication. And then the third leg of the stool is what I would call intimate wellness. And that really runs the span from what I came here today to talk about, which is sexual regenerative therapies and treatments and supplementation and the foods you eat to keep your body in good shape for great sex, because our genital system is run on blood flow. A lot of people are like, my libido is low because my hormones are low, and it's like, that could be a part of it, but there's more. So there's the regenerative therapies, bringing yourself back to fully vital genital systems. And then it moves from that to biohacking, and biohacking is actually enhancement, making what you have even better. And that's where you can also get into orgasmic activation and orgasmic cross-training. So techniques, communications, and health and wellness, intimate wellness, those are really the 3 legs of the stool. And if you're starting on a journey of sexual awakening, sexual self-discovery, there are a couple of things that I recommend. Do you want to hear them?
I do want to hear them.
Okay. So the first one is to learn how to listen to your body and know what she wants and be comfortable with your partner asking for it. Because a lot of women say to me, I don't know what I'm wanting, I just know what I'm getting isn't it. And that's very, very common. And you know how we have more than 6 senses? We've got, sight, smell, sound, taste, touch, etc. We also have proprioception, where is our body in space?
Yes.
And we have interoception, which is what is happening inside our body that we can feel. Oh, I need to fart or burp, or my right shoulder aches, or oh, I stubbed my toe and my nail's gonna fall off, or whatever it is. You have interoceptive powers to feel what your body is telling you that you want or don't want in any given moment, sexually as well. And she's always talking to you, so it's not intuition, but it is a tuning into your interoception. It's not that intuition isn't a part of it, but what I'm really talking about is the felt sense of your body and whether she's getting what she needs in the moment to increase her arousal and pleasure, or it's being decreased. She's not getting, it's too hard, it's scratchy, I don't like it, I don't like to be touched there. And that brings me to another really important part, which I mentioned, which is this idea of orgasmic activation. And there's a couple of components to that. And I'm very focused on orgasm skills, because the sexperts that say, not everyone can orgasm, or, oh, if you can't orgasm from intercourse, it's okay, don't worry, or it's all about touching the tip of the clitoris, it's not about the vagina, or any of those kinds of things, they are at a sophomoric level of knowledge. They just haven't gotten there yet.
That's true.
I am a wise woman. I've been around for a long time, at 62, doing this for decades, having a lot of experience, working with my title is intimacy expert to millions for a friggin' reason, because I have helped millions of people, and I have helped 100,000 people with specific issues, because I'm not a therapist. I don't sit one-on-one and talk to people. I have DMs up the wazoo. I get emails. What I really do is I send out a sex tip email newsletter, and anybody who gets it can ask me anything they want.
I'd love to interject, because you have to sign up for that, because you know how social media really limits what we can post and censors. And when we say censors, they actually limit and restrict, even though they want to use
throttle,
the word
shadow
censor.
ban, exactly.
And when I was at the Dave Asprey conference, you were talking about whole body orgasms, tickling the hand, these different spots, and that was so amazing for me, because having a colostomy bag, a reverse colostomy bag, tons of intestinal resections, I lost a lot of sensation below, which I realized was a big part of my problem. And but the amazing thing is, medical doctors, neurologists said, I won't get that feeling back.
Yeah, you will.
However, yes, because and I wanted to share with you, you've helped me not even knowing that.
Good.
So I'm sure you've helped multi-millions, because just helping, and all of the people in every conference who are taking those words in. Because, I mean, I went home, and one thing I told my husband is like, can you tickle me?
Good.
And that was one thing, and I was like, just like all of this. And before, and again, when you bring in sexual abuse or trauma, he said, you never wanted tickles before. It would creep me out. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm ready to be tickled. Yeah. Just tickle me. Yeah. And but like, and I explained to him exactly how I wanted to be. And at first he's like, whoa, where's this coming from? And like, is this weird or is this wrong? And when I share that with my friends, again, a lot of husbands who are not used to that asking and specific, sometimes it could cause someone to be insecure or wonder like, where did you get this from? But I was really happy, because I recorded her and I was like, this is where I got it from. Tickle me. And
I'm so glad.
Yeah, and I had really, really amazing sex that night, and I could feel so much more, which I was like, maybe I want a vibrator to bring the blood flow and to work with that. And I do have to say, just like a lot of the biohacking devices, my mother said, if you don't use it, you lose it.
You can always get it back, though.
Yes, because I did honestly feel like I lost it from being hospitalized.
Of course
and a lot
you did.
Of things.
Of course you did. You lost the neural connections to your pelvic bowl.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I tore my ACLs and MCLs skiing last year. And so instead of having surgery, I did regenerative therapy and I did stem cells to my knees. And when I went back out on the slopes this season, one of the things I had to do was and even before I did a lot of what you would call physical therapy.
Yeah.
I just call it working out. I just
Yeah.
work out. I do all kinds of things. One of the things I had to do is I had to reconnect my feet to my brain because the channel got cut when the tissue got torn.
Yeah.
And I was unstable on my feet and my ankles were weak. And so I had to work as much on that as I did on, I had to work the whole system, head to toe, nose to tail, as they say in the carnivore world. Not that I'm a carnivore, but I like the nose to tail idea.
Yeah.
So going back to this notion of sensation, one of the things that I think is really important to understand about your body is that you can change the sensation from numb or shame or pain to pleasure by asking for what you need and having a safe partner or even doing it yourself give you the stimulation that your body is wanting and calling for. And that sensation, when you touch your parts with love, you're activating neural pleasure pathways to your brain. And your brain, everybody knows your brain's your biggest sex organ, right?
Yeah.
But a friend of mine, Dr. Nan Wise, she is famous. She wrote a book called Why Good Sex Matters. And she's famous because she put women in an MRI machine and had their partners touch their breasts, their nipples, their genitals in different locations. So clitoral structure, outer and inner labia, introital sphincter, which is the entrance to the vagina, the vestibule. And they saw in the MRI that different parts of the sensory cortex were lighting up, oxygenated by blood flow, which you want. You want a lot of blood flow to your brain. That's just a good basic biohacking piece of knowledge.
Yes.
That it was
Like
lighting
the
up
homunculus.
different. Yes, the homunculus,
Yeah.
exactly. That it was lighting up different parts of your brain. And that's the thing about your vulva, about your breasts and nipples, about your lips, your tongue, your mouth, your neck, your cheeks, your eyes, all of those erogenous zones that we have, is that you can bring them online one at a time or a few at a time until you become orgasmically activated. And you can take it beyond just the body-brain, mind-body connection. You can then begin to work on and actively pursue the 20 different kinds of orgasms that the human body can have. And so whether you...
It's on my bucket list.
Exactly. Check, 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 check,
Yep.
check.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Exactly. You're going to,
No.
God, in 5 years, you're going to be such an entirely different person with the attitude that you have, the desire that you have, the willingness to ask for what you want, the information that you need. I often call myself an orgasmonaut. I am the astronaut that goes into orgasmic outer space. I go off the edge into the darkness to find the pleasure and connection. And then I come back. I go off to the unknown. It's not dark, it's
just
light.
love it.
But the unknown. And I come back with a map to the territory to tell you exactly how to have it yourself. Because we have what Dave Asprey calls the meat operating system, right?
Yeah.
We all work the same way.
Yeah.
Sometimes the signals get crossed. Like, for example, there are a lot of people in the BDSM and kink community that register pain as pleasure. And often that comes from religious repression and other things, and shame and trauma, that the sensation that they need is more, it's different than the tickling, right?
Yeah, well, that used to be me, which is why it's such a switch, because, you know, I don't know how much I want to say here, but I just wanted,
You don't have to say anything.
you know, fast, hard to
Right.
feel something, because I
Yes.
was desensitized. So it's
Exactly.
like harder,
Yes.
and then it's like, then it's over, and okay, and then like you talked about, the women sitting there with those emotions, those hormones, those feelings, and then the guy's over, and now I'm sitting here with this repeated feeling of, oh, this doesn't feel, I mean, that felt good, but this doesn't feel right here. And I want to cuddle, or I want more. And even then, it's like you still go through the brain.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about being safe. And even in a setting I've been with, I went to an all-women's ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, nice.
And I think even at first, the plant medicine woman was a little taken back with my sexuality because of how it is in with the, how they treat, the women in Central America and where they do these things. It's more led by men, and it's very macho. So with my twerking by the fire, and we're around all women. I kept taking my clothes off. We were
and
out.
You have a beautiful body. You're a beautiful woman. It's lovely to see your body.
Thank you. And I used to have a colostomy bag, and I've been hospitalized for so long. That was one thing that came to me, is if I feel good, if I feel sexy, if I feel happy, I'm gonna do whatever my body, that internal sense, which is usually to remove my clothes in safe setting. It's how I feel. And one of the women had a one-on-one with some of the women inside, and she came out and whispered to me. She goes, "Can you lay naked with me?"
Oh, nice.
And I was like, absolutely.
That's very healing.
Without question, I was like, absolutely. And we went around the corner by ourselves. It was funny because I actually laid on top of her. I thought that's what she wanted. And she was like,
that's too much.
And she was like, no, next to me.
Great.
And I thought she wanted skin touch. But because I didn't have that, I guess I'm just very open.
Yeah, she just needed you to give you more clarity.
Yeah, and we were laying, and we were in the, in the woods, and the sun was on us.
Nice.
And she started talking about why, which was very personal, but had to do with her downstairs area. And I was like, well, how about while we talk, we lay in sleeping butterfly, supine, butterfly, I teach yoga. And so the sun on her yoni was feeling good. And then she kind of mentioned that. And I said, well, let's do happy baby. And it was funny because I'm at an ayahuasca ceremony. And I'm like, have you heard of tricacean sun? You can sun your area.
Yeah.
You should sun your butthole.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And we kind of did a naked yoga. And at the end, she's like, oh my God, I got to get all these women to come and do it. And I said, this is not my retreat. I host amazing retreats, women's retreats, twerk shops, all of the good stuff. But she went over there. She told them. And not only did everybody come back, but even the plant medicine women, they all took off their clothes. And it was just the most beautiful naked yoga class. And I never thought in a million years I would have done that. It happened all organic, just because we all felt safe.
Great.
We felt sisterhood. And recently I applied yoni gazing to myself because I felt so shameful down there with everything.
Yeah.
And the other day I walked in the house, I was like, I think I have a cute clit.
You do. I already know you do. Everybody's clit's cute. Clits are just adorable.
And it's so funny because
they're so pretty.
I was like, you can go down there now. I'm like, and it was really weird to just finally allow myself to even look down there and have the light on.
Yeah.
I was actually smoking my joint. I'm like looking in a mirror, and it was like a whole 30 minutes of me just watching it. And I heard about it, just like you can hear everything, but if you don't apply it, it's knowledge is not power unless you apply it. That's what Dr. Porter told me. So ever since I went to your talk at Dave Asprey, it really changed my sexual health, and I really thank you for that. And, turning 40, you can feel the dryness that creeps in.
I've got some things for you.
Ooh, because like a lot of my friends, they always get like these basic lubrication, or they talk about, oh, it's dry, or my skin is thin, or it feels this way, and it doesn't feel good anymore. Or I'll have one of my patients that might have great sex, and all her friends shame her, like, you're too old for that. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Never.
Follow Susan.
Yeah, till the day you
and
die.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on parallel bars at 100 in a thong, and you guys, I'm gonna go viral on YouTube. So
I'm gonna die having an orgasm.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. That's a great one.
There's a couple things I want to give you.
Oh, I'm excited.
So I brought you one of my books. This is one of my best-selling books. It's called Sexual Soulmates, The 6 Essentials to Connected Sex. And inside here is something called the Sexual Soulmate Pact. One of the 6 essentials is, and you're already doing this, and I think this will refine it even more for you, which is how to know what you want and ask for it, and have your partner love you to ask them for it. And so I wanted to give you this. Plus, it looks so good with your outfit.
I'm so excited. We're going to read this, babe. Homework.
Definitely. You know, my
keep this
style, oh no, that's fine. My style of lovemaking is transforming friction into connection. So not performative, what you would see on porn, but heart connected, conscious, passionate lovemaking. And heart connected is where you're really showing up and worshiping each other. Conscious is you're letting go of your shame and you're moving into your desire and you're fully present with your partner. And then the passionate is that kind of sex that's super hot where you want to tear each other's clothes off. You can't wait to just lock lips and be connected to each other. And lovemaking is the tenderness of it and the surrender and the conjoined bliss of the trance state of co-creative orgasm. So it's that kind of stuff that I teach in Sexual Soulmates. And I wanted to also let you know that if you're listening to this podcast or vidcast, that I have everything that I am talking about at the sexual biohacking presentation that I do today. I've put together a website for the team here that is biohacksex.com. But I don't think Sexual Soulmates is on it. And you can buy it from Amazon, but you don't need to. You can go to sexualsoulmatebook.com and you can download a PDF version of that. So you can have that as well. Because remember when I was talking about the bedroom communication and how the foundation, the Sexual Soulmate Pact is the foundation. From there you can get higher into worship, adoration, appreciation, sharing frames, all kinds of techniques. But that's really the foundation. So I think it'll do well for you. This is the right thing at the right time for you.
I'm excited.
And then the second thing I wanted to give you is this Phoria. Phoria is a CBD-based intimacy system. And there are 3 different parts to it. I call this my pleasure protocol. And essentially this little piece, take them out, is a little trochee that is made of cocoa butter and CBD. And CBD comes from the hemp plant, and it is a trigger for your own internal endocannabinoid system. And what it does is it triggers your pleasure healing pathway. And so you take one of these out, and it's called a melt, and you pop it up inside your vaginal canal. They also have booty melts, so you can pop it in your rectum.
I was like, okay, I won't do that now.
And it coats your whole vaginal mucosal lining. Ooh. And it kind of plumps it and it moisturizes it. So it's very good if you're having intercourse. And then the next thing that you do is you take I've got to find the right one, the Awaken oil. And the Awaken oil is botanicals that start that vulva and vagina to brain connection. And so you're such a good Vanna. Exactly. And so basically you just take a couple of squirts of that. So that's not a lube. That's an awakening arousal oil. And you take like a dropper full. And you put it right on your vulva. You have your partner or you rub it on the outer genital system. On your clitoris, your mons, your outer labia, your inner labia, your vestibule, the introital sphincter, all of that tissue. And that starts to activate. All of a sudden, your yoni is going, like that. It's the activator. And then you can put on their sex oil for all of the slip and the slide that you need. So for those women who are like, I'm getting thin, I'm drying, first of all, sorry, honey,
no worries.
First of all, get some vaginal estrogen. It'll thicken up the tissue, which will hold more moisture. You'll get more lubrication. But this is their sex oil, and what I like about it is that sexual lubricants are an FDA Class 2 product that has to have preservatives in it. You don't need preservatives for MCT oil and CBD and botanicals. And this is so nice because this gives you all the glide and the slide that you need, and you can reapply as needed. So the Pleasure Protocol, it's at pleasureprotocol.com. It is an absolutely wonderful thing. It's also at biohacksex.com, actually. I put it on there. And this system is so nice because there's a ritual to you doing this to yourself or your lover doing this for you. And it just makes it really nice. They also have a breast oil, and they also have a massage oil. And I have basically my headboard has this kind of flat surface, and the entire thing is just filled with all of these great Phoria CBD
That's
oil.
funny. I want to know how many times they were knocked over.
Well, it doesn't matter because they're on a towel. So
Oh, okay,
they're
cool.
fine.
Gotcha.
It's totally fine. Exactly.
I'm like, I know she's got a swing too.
I do have a swing.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
great. Yeah, my husband just recently bought that swing. It's really a sturdy thing. And then I want to give you one more thing. This is a brand new sexual vitality energy bar that I just came out with. They're hot off the production facility. It's called the Desire Bar. And really what it's doing is it has maca. It has 3 grams of maca, and it has 200 milligrams of cacao polyphenols in it. So number one, it's low in sugar. It's got lots of good healthy fat. It's got peanuts, pumpkin seeds, and flax seeds. Great for breast health, prostate health, high omegas, great lignans. It's got all kinds of good stuff, and that dark chocolate. And so it's a really quality snack that also gives you the blood flow that you need to your pelvic bowl. Because most people think it's their hormones, like I said earlier, but it's actually blood flow to your genitals. That is the thing that diminishes over time, that makes it hard for you to get the blood flow into the erectile tissue. And then when that doesn't get full of blood, it has a limited surface area. You're flaccid, basically. So you don't have this big fluffy surface area sending more signals of pleasure to your brain. So you've got to get the blood flow in. So between having things like nitric oxide supplementation, cacao polyphenols, libido botanicals like maca, and then using these CBD arousal oils, all of a sudden, if your husband gives you a yoni massage, and he's down there and he's just rubbing all this in and pleasuring you, and you've had a nice make out, and he's put some breast oil on you, and your arousal system is also a 3-legged stool: your mouth, your breasts and nipples, and your vulva and vagina. They work together as a system. So playing with all of them increases your engorgement, which increases the pleasure signals to your brain, which gets you more and more turned on.
I recently have been, when I teach yoga at the local gyms, I always talk about facial exercises.
Oh, great.
And I recently had a massage therapist who works with a lot of NFL athletes, and he had gloves and told me, have you ever had your tongue massaged or your cheeks? And I thought, no. And he asked if I would like to, and to relax my cheek, and he stuck his thumb in, and he started going this side, and then this side, and then the tongue, and I was like, okay, I got to do this when I get home with myself. And I started having a practice of massaging my cheeks and pulling out my tongue. And I actually thought it hurt, but also felt good. I stored so much tension. And after going to your talk again, I'm like, oh, that's why I was on the verge of feeling good and weird, because I was like, that's why I was like, I've never had this area touched, or like these long strokes to your tongue. And I joke in yoga class that your tongue is probably twice as long as you think it is, you know, and you just if you think of energy centers, a lot of our hearts are shut down. Our throats are closed because we're not speaking our truth. We're not being heard, or people are not listening. So that it's like, and then the more that happens, so not only did it translate to feeling good, but my tongue actually did feel like it relaxed. It relaxed my throat, my heart. I think it all worked with Kundalini energy as well. So I really believe in that. I always tell people, massage your tongue. Not only does it feel good, open up the throat, the heart, but when you attach all of these things together, it really has helped me out. And that's something that I learned also from you.
I love that. Well, and my girlfriend, Deborah Kagan, she taught me that the larynx and the vagina are very similar structures. And so when I say you have to listen to her, as in your yoni, as in, your genitals, you have to use this mouth to speak and to say what she is telling you. And so finding your voice and relaxing everything just helps you start to speak from your root of truth.
That's awesome, because in my classes as well, when we're doing Happy Baby,
Yeah.
and I say if you want to relax down there and it's hard, open your throat,
Right.
stick
It's
your tongue
all
out.
one system.
Yeah.
It's called the lumen.
Yeah.
Right? It's our light source. And it's
So-
all orgasmic. So over time, as an orgasmonaut, which you are now an officially anointed orgasmonaut, Lauren,
you have to anoint me like a
I
sword.
would love to.
And you look like a light beam. I just love looking at you.
Good. I try to be luminous.
Yes, very luminous.
And radiate the luminosity so that it just echoes out to the world.
does.
Opening your mouth will open your yoni for sure.
Yes.
So that's very well said. Excellent point.
Gotcha. So I think that we've had a great
Yes, we have.
talk, and
Yeah.
I could make a joke. We should end and open our mouths and yonis.
Ah.
I'm joking, but maybe later. And I look forward to your talk. Thank you for speaking with me.
My pleasure. You are a pure delight.
I'm excited to see you in future conferences.
Me
You guys
too.
should definitely check out Biohackers World. They're going to be in Miami soon. And if you miss these, check us out next year.